Matt Dever, an extraordinary, ordinary story. An extraordinary, ordinary story, Matt Dever.
Last year, my 3-year-old Amelia asks me, "Dada, why do people die?" Why can be hard. Instead, I focus on a more practical question. What do we do differently knowing that people die? After my mom died, I appreciated my dad more. My dad was an old man by that point. Sometimes I couldn't tell whether he was serious or strange. Did anyone's dad ever say anything strange? One time my dad said to me, "Matt, there's a duck living in my apartment." I spent hours explaining to my dad that ducks do not live in apartments. Then he told me he wasn't getting calls with his new iPhone. I had an epiphany. I dialed his number. Quack, quack. The duck was his new ringtone. I just smiled. I didn't have much time left with my dad. But I didn't fully appreciate younger people, like my wife. I took her for granted. I focused on me, my work, my health, my projects. I thought we had decades left together. That all changed when our daughter was born. August 23rd, 2019, 2 a.m. I'm asleep. My pregnant wife shakes me awake. The contractions started. Meanwhile, she's been cleaning. She doesn't want to come home from the hospital to a dirty house. At the hospital, we go into the operating room for a C-section. Minutes later, we have our first daughter, Amelia. Then I notice my wife's face is gray. The doctor says, "Get a blood count, stat." They rush my wife back to the OR. I feed my daughter her first bottle. Then I see a young lady, a blood runner, sprinting towards the OR, over and over again. My heart sinks. An hour later, the doctor comes in and says, "Your wife lost 8 pints of blood. But good news, pregnant women have a lot more blood." They repaired the blood vessel they cut. My wife was fine. After that, I knew I needed to appreciate her more, but I didn't know how to show it. I'm an engineer. I read a dozen books. I learned to appreciate my wife in small ways. I take our daughter Amelia to parks to give my wife time to herself, sometimes to clean in what she calls beautiful silence. I celebrated my wife telling our daughter often how she would grow up to be a big, strong lady, particularly after I locked Amelia out of our home gym one day for screaming. And she screamed, "But Dada, I need to work out. I need to get big and strong." Then when my wife first mastered cooking salmon, I told her it was restaurant quality. She told me she'd like me to cook more often. These stories are all quacking ducks. To me, a quacking duck is a seemingly ordinary moment we'll soon forget if we don't stop to appreciate what's extraordinary about it. Now I hunt for moments like this to connect deeply. After a few years of this, I felt like I'd changed, but I wasn't sure. So I ran an experiment. we had another baby. May 22nd, 2023, 8 a.m. We go to the exact same hospital. In the operating room, I hold my wife's hand. Suddenly, I'm sweating. My hands are clammy. My face turns whiter than it already is. The nurse says, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. It's just this gown." The nurse says, Do you want to sit down?" I was already sitting down. They make me sit on the OR floor and take my photo. Then the surgeon vacuums out our daughter Maeve's large dome and says, "My, what a big head you have. You have a beautiful baby girl." While sitting on that OR floor, I knew I didn't take my wife for granted. I had evidence, a picture, sweat stains, and beautiful memories. Besides these extraordinary life events, I had an extraordinary feeling from noticing the ordinary wonder all around us every day, like a child at the park or a good meal with family. Which brings me back to, why do people die? I finally tell Amelia, we get older. What matters more is what we do while people are here. Now go hug your mama. Ladies and gentlemen, thinking about death is uncomfortable. Use that feeling as a reminder to notice your own quacking ducks. Appreciate your people and your extraordinary story together. Like a strange old man, grateful that his family finally started calling him again. Back to you.
Matt Dever.